Alabama, with another one of their players hitting the transfer portal and Caden Proctor. We're going to talk about what's going on right now in Tuscaloosa. Should you be worried? And could this have been handled a little bit better? Is it fair to the new coach, Kalen DeBoer, to step into a situation where all of these players are leaving? And what about the legacies that some of these guys are walking away from? Alabama losing some of their best players now to the transfer portal. All of that right here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Make sure that you guys like and follow. Things are going to get better. I promise you. But it has been rough the last week. We're at 1 week since Nick Saban retired, and it's an all-out assault on the Crimson Tide. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's get this thing started. What do you say, everybody? Welcome to the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. And you know we could not do it without our cast of characters and friends. And always great to see Big Elmo, my main man over there, Brett Elmore. You guys know him from WJLX Radio in Jasper, Alabama, the Walker County legend himself at Brett Elmore Show. I'm at Broadcaster Mick. What's up, brother?
I'm coming to you from the frozen tundra. It's 5 degrees this morning, man, when I woke up. And ice is still everywhere. It has been absolute hell. But we're 1 week since Saban made his announcement that he's retiring. And since then, we've lost 9 to the transfer portal. Man, it's been a heck of a week.
Yeah, look, this one is the latest one right here. Caden Proctor, 5-star. He was a starter this year over on the left side of the line. We watched him develop from a guy who was being overmatched to a pretty good player. He's going to be a great player eventually. And this one hurts. Earlier today, Caleb Downs hit the transfer portal, led the team in tackles, a freshman All-American, the Sean Alexander Award winner. And all I can do, Brett, is just think about the way that Coach Saban kind of handled his retirement. Now hear me out. I love Coach Saban.
Yeah.
And I haven't criticized him a whole lot in his career, right? The last time I did, my aunt came after me like she was going to hit me with a frying pan, right? And that's because I had information that Tua could barely walk going into that Mississippi State game. And Saban left him in there too long. And, of course, he had the bad injury. And I didn't even expect him to play. I thought Mac Jones would have won that game anyway, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, that was the last time. I'm going to criticize him, though, for the way that he left town. Or at least the way that he retired, because he didn't leave town.
Right.
You have all the rumors coming out that he might retire. And look, he's 70, going on 73. It may be time for him to hang it up, right? I mean, you could see that it was starting to slip a little bit. You don't want to have a legend like him end up leaving like most of the great football coaches do, you know, like with where you're just barely hanging on, right? He got the team to the college football playoff. I thought he had a great season, and I thought honestly he's leaving doing the best job that he's done, because where this team started and where they finished was a huge accomplishment. But if you're going to retire, why not think about what you're doing before you do it, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, his own daughter said, well, we didn't really know if it was going to happen or not going into that day. And he said he didn't know what he was going to do. Well, he obviously knew something, because Jimmy Sexton was there. I guess unless he wasn't there in person, maybe he was there on the phone. But his agent knew, he knew, and then he went in and told Greg Byrne. Now, wouldn't the better game plan have been to tell those guys and to let those guys work on this thing in secret so that you could figure out, kind of get ahead of it a little bit as far as the replacement? Obviously, they did a great job of getting Kalen DeBoer. I think that Kalen DeBoer is the right hire. I love the hire. I think he's great, right? But now he's inheriting the whole T-Rob thing, where you knew T-Rob was going to be going to, or potentially going to Georgia if you didn't give him a promotion and give him the money. Well, we have the money, and the promotion was there because Kevin Steele had retired. But because of the timing of this, you had no chance if you were DeBoer to realistically bring him back on board because he didn't know if he was going to have a job. Then he's got an offer from Georgia. Well, you got to pay your bills. You got a great opportunity to go there and get a co-defensive coordinator title and all the money that they were offering. And then you try to bring him back in on Sunday and he's gone. And I feel like losing that connection has really hurt our ability, Alabama, to keep some of these guys from leaving because now all you have left are Freddie Roach and Robert Gillispie. Great name. But you know what? It feels like this was handled poorly to me. Now, would this have saved having T-Rob as defensive coordinator or co-defensive coordinator or whatever at Alabama? Would it have saved some of this? Well, look at all the guys leaving in the secondary. You're damn right it would have. Yeah. And I guess that to me, I'm a little frustrated by the way that this all went down in the aspect of why wouldn't you just plan it better? Am I fair for saying that?
No, you're fair for saying that. And Nick Saban has always been the type of guy that always has a plan. He's always thinking ahead. And I don't understand why, if what he says is true, 5 minutes before team meeting time, he decides, hey, I'm going to retire. And Mick, you and I had talked about a week ago today, really, off the air about this may be one of the biggest secrets in college football because we actually thought that this was planned out for some time. And then we hear the news of now he just caught everyone by surprise, including the coaching staff. But also, you're talking about T-Rob, if he would have stayed with some of the players, maybe that would have saved some of those guys. You have to remember back to the recruiting of Caleb Downs. It was a dogfight, no pun intended, between Alabama and Georgia for his services. I mean, the freshman of the year, you're losing 107 tackles. A guy that it was a great player. But obviously, it would shock me if he doesn't go to Georgia because that's one.
Oh, he's going to Georgia. That's probably part of the reason why they got T-Rob, to be able to attack this roster.
To be able to get him and poach another player from Tuscaloosa. But you're right. I mean, 9 transfers in a week, 25 total since the portal opened up December the 1st. But I don't think as hard as it's to say today, I don't think you hit that panic button just yet.
The Caleb Downs one hurts, though, man. I mean, the guy was the leading tackler on the team, and he had almost double the tackles of Deontay Lawson, who was second. I mean, we haven't had a player, a freshman, make that many tackles. That's like Ray Lewis stuff, what this guy was doing. And he wasn't a linebacker, but I mean, just his ability to attack the ball. The other thing, Brett, that I want to bring up that I've heard for years since the NIL came out, that there was a real resistance from Nick Saban in Alabama and the Alabama athletic department to embrace going out and building NIL. They were late to the table. They had groups coming to them saying, hey, this is what we do. We want to help you guys out. And they didn't really think that they needed to do that. Now they started to build it with the Yay Alabama collective and so that's a good start. But the problem is they're behind the 8 ball now. We had the Saban discount where guys would say, hey, you know what? I don't really care as much about the money as playing for a guy that has this track record of littering the NFL with the best players. I'm going to get that opportunity at Alabama. That discount is gone now.
Yeah.
And it is apparent. And I'm telling you, if they don't have the money to sign a guy like Caleb Downs, then this is big trouble. I mean, I just can't imagine. I'm not saying every player is as impactful as him, but it would be nice had they looked ahead and said, and I know this for a fact because I talked to some of the people that were begging them to listen begging them to get involved, begging them to say, hey, let's get this thing started. And the people on the inside know this. They didn't do it.
Well, ultimately, that falls on Nick Saban. And that's just it's hard to believe that he's always been, it seems like, one step ahead of everyone and ahead of the game. Why were we not a step ahead in the NIL situation? But you're right. The guy may still be on campus. He may be a block or two away at Bryant-Denny Stadium with an office. And, he's going to have an advisor role. But that doesn't, I mean, that's good. Don't get me wrong, but still, we are behind the 8 ball now. We're starting to lose folks, but like I said, pump the brakes a little bit. And let's remember, next man up. Man up. We've got some good players on that roster, and let's not forget that the portal opens up again April 15th.
Right.
So how will DeBoer do when that happens?
Well, and also too, you got other like Jim Harbaugh is going to the NFL. That's going to open up Michigan. You got Arizona. Yeah. You've got Washington with some players that are in the transfer portal. Alabama and Coach DeBoer right now desperately need a victory. Every single thing that we see right now is another defeat for Alabama. Here's another guy in the portal. Here's another guy in the portal. Right. Here's another coach leaving. Georgia got this guy, that guy. He needs a victory just because perception is reality. Now, behind the scenes, they may be doing really well, right? He's a fantastic guy. He cares about the players. That's his MO, right? And he's got a lot on his plate. Got to get coaches. Got to go out and try to save the recruiting class as we watch guys in that recruiting class. Another 5-star decommitted yesterday. So now that's 3 5-stars out of that class that have bounced out. Can you bring back Ryan Williams? Can you bring back Jamie French? Can you save this thing? I don't know. But he's got to try to do that. The other part of this, Brett, is that this athletic department was under control with Nick Saban in charge, where they have over the years been, I always called it a viper pit. It was constantly a battle to see who could be in control of more stuff. When Nick Saban came in, he put all of that stuff to rest. You're talking about boosters. You're talking about athletic directors, assistant athletic directors, coaches for other sports. They all stayed in line. That's something else that I'm sure that behind the scenes up there, this guy's going to have to deal with. Because he's a nice guy, he better watch out because there's some bad people in that athletic department. Not all of them, but there are some. And I saw it when I was there, and it's, who knows? I would hope that would be cleaned out by now, all these years later, but it's a power vacuum. Nick Saban held that under control, and now I'm worried about that as well.
Yeah, that rearing its ugly head again. Yeah, I mean, it seems bad, but Mick, have you looked at Washington and what happened there? Have you ever seen an entire starting lineup from the offensive side? They're all gone, either by graduation or whatever, but most of them have transferred out.
Right.
They took a huge hit. That's going back to your point of when Harbaugh, which is a totally different subject. His demands for Michigan's just crazy, admitting guilt, basically. When that domino falls, Michigan's not going to hire some slug off the street. It's going to be from, another big-time program, I'm sure. So that domino effect will also open up another 30-day window for those guys to transfer. And so, but still, it's like the wild, wild west. It is college football has become something that I'm not used to, and I don't know if I like it.
Well, I don't think any of us do, but no. Michigan could hire their assistant coach that filled in, but if not, you could see a guy like Brian Kelly swinging there. We'll keep an eye on that. The bottom line is this, Brett. The whole point of jumping on here for this show is to say that Kalen DeBoer needs a victory. A victory right now. He needs to get a big-time talent out of the transfer portal. He needs to keep a Caleb Downs from leaving, recommitting to Alabama. He just needs something to to just change the energy and the direction that from an outside looking in is the perception that things aren't good right now in Tuscaloosa. Georgia had a whole roster of guys go too, just like Florida State, where it's now 5 guys have gone to Florida State, but we just haven't seen this before, and there's there's a vibe that things are crumbling. You're right. That's not the truth, but the perception is there, and he needs a victory
to happen. We need something positive to happen.
That's right. And that's what I'm looking for. And I hope that happens sometime soon. Just make a move and make a move that will impact the landscape of things so that people look at Alabama and go, okay, they're starting to get out of the white caps, the rocky water, and get into smooth sailing again. All right. That's what I wanted to talk about. Guys, get in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think as well. I know there's going to be some haters on there in the comment section that love this, but let me caution you. Let me caution you. Alabama is not going anywhere. It's going to look different, but they're not going anywhere. Just know that.
There you go.
So be careful, haters, but enjoy it while you can. Now, the rest of you guys, things are going to get better, but we could desperately use a win right now. All right, Brett, thanks. Let me remind you guys that we're brought to you by Pearl River Resort. It's like when you go, maybe you have a bad run of picks, and then all of a sudden you get as hot as I did during the postseason and go 34-10. That's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. And you can do it at Pearl River Resort, the Timeout Sports Lounge and Sportsbook over there, an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 hours from Birmingham. They got the table games. They've got the slots. They've got Dancing Rabbit Golf Course, although as cold as it is outside today, I know you're not thinking about that. But look, in a month, you'll be out there hitting golf balls, maybe even in a week, the way that our weather goes. Wow. But they've got that, a spa. It's a really cool place to hang out, and it's just a short drive. So check it out for yourself. All right. Thank you, Brett. And you guys hang in there. We'll continue to follow things and roll Tide.